Hello and welcome to the Project Bag podcast. This is episode 18, the first one of 2019. I've had a couple of weeks off. Let's see how much I've forgotten, shall we? On the episode for you this week, I share with you some finished objects, plural. I also have a half object for you in a departure from the norm. My works in progress include a cardigan and a new sock design. From there, I start to look to the future, sharing my goals for 2019. A new feature for the podcast this year is Level Up. Find out what new skills I've been trying to hone this week. Next, we reveal the much anticipated knit-along winners for the great festive cast-on cowl. And finally, I share with you what is coming up for the Project Bag, both the business and the podcast in 2019. And hopefully you'll decide you're along for the ride. Welcome! It is so lovely to be back with you, to be kicking off my new year, sitting down for a crafty chat with you lovely lot. It has been absolutely wonderful getting to know so many of you in the latter months of 2018, and the fact we've got a whole year together now to look ahead to is super exciting. To those of you who've just joined the Ravelry group, welcome. It's lovely to see you in there. Do introduce yourselves, have a bit of a chat, have a poke around. To new viewers who are trying out the podcast for the first time, what a great time to start. First podcast of a new year. Welcome. Thank you for trying out the podcast. Hopefully you enjoy what you see. I'm Gemma, for those of you that don't know, and I am the maker, designer, tutor, hand dyer behind the Project Bag, Tuition, Bags and Yarns. Also, the host of this podcast, but you figured that out right already. Hopefully you enjoy yourselves. You grab yourself a drink, have something to work on, nothing too complicated, because I do tend to go off on wild tangents and I might distract you. And yeah, settle in for a chat. Returning viewers, welcome back. How are you? How has your holiday season been? I know it's not necessarily the best or most positive season for everybody, and it can be quite overwhelming. Hopefully it's been restful for you. You've been kind to yourselves and done what you need in this festive season. I know I did. I had to take a big step back from what my Christmas would usually look like. And actually I managed with my husband to craft a Christmas that was pretty good for us, all things considered. And I think the way we did that was just to say, do you know what? We're going to put what we need first, and that's okay. But we're into a new year now. Can't believe it. Don't know where 2018 went. 2019 is here firmly. It is the 1st of January, and the first thing I'm doing is sitting down to chat with you lovely lot. All the places that you can choose to follow me if you want to on the internet are listed just down below in the description box for you. Do head over to the Ravelry group if you would like to join in with the more social side of things. There is a Facebook page and group as well, and I'm really excited, kind of spoiling one of my new for 2019 things, that the blog is going to be coming back with some much more exciting features there as well. So that's all down there for you below, and should you choose to peruse my hand-dyed yarn and handmade project bags, the shop link is there for you as well. Okay, new year, new mug. Isn't this gorgeous? This was a real surprise Christmas gift from a very lovely friend of mine. I've spoken of her before. She really helped me so much when I was poorly during the latter half of 2017. She got me back into my knitting, said, you know, just do 8 rows a day, even if your knitting mojo is completely through the floor, just do 8 rows a day. And she encouraged me to start dyeing yarn. She managed to procure the first undyed yarn I ever had, and those skeins were gifted to family members this Christmas, and they are very pleased with those. And she presented me with this lovely mug saying, "You make me smile," to use on the podcast, and I know she watches it as well. So there you are, Myra. I'm using your mug straight away. This is the very first time I've used this mug since you kindly gifted it to me. It has a decaf chai latte in, and while I'm at it, I should also show my lovely viewers I have had a mini sieve upgrade. Previous viewers of the podcast will know that one evening I decided to crack out my fine china teapot and teacups that were a gift from my very dear friend for my 30th. And I had it all off camera because I had the bottle of milk, classy, and my mini sieve tea strainer. Anyway, my lovely friend Myra, as well as my teacup, has given me a bit of an upgrade to my mini sieve tea strainer. How cute is that? So this definitely no longer looks like a sieve, and it's got this really nice china. I'm not entirely sure what's meant to be on there, to be honest. Answers on a postcard, please. What is that meant to be? There you go. Pop your answers on a postcard or pop them down below. So thank you very, very much, Myra. So there you go. The inaugural sip has been taken. Okay, I promised you some finished objects, so let's get back on it, shall we? If you are a new viewer to the podcast, let me warn you now that finished objects are few and far between on this podcast. I must admit I've finished more things since starting podcasting than I have in a very long time, but still it's not going to be an every week thing. So if that's your thing, I'm sorry. I'm very much a real life knitter and crafter and have all the pressures of time that go with it. Returning viewers will be very surprised to hear that I have 2 finished objects. Will not be so surprised to hear that they are actually Christmas gifts. For Christmas, just gone. Yeah. Oh, my Christmas gifting was a bit of a mess this year. I didn't have the mojo, the time, the energy, or just the presence and the ability to see what I did there, to make as many Christmas gifts as I would usually. I was definitely shop buying. I was on a very limited budget, and then someone smashed my car wing mirror off. Thank you, right before Christmas, just what I need. Anywho, so I ended up having to make some last minute gifts, deep stash diving, just to find something really special. One of them I shared that I was planning to do, and that is this rather fantabulous scarf. Isn't it just fabulous, darling? This is in what is known as can yarn. It is a specially designed tape yarn. There are different types. This is kind of a fishnetty, and there's a tape one as well, which is punched and cauterized, and I'll show you that another time because I've got that on a birthday gift list to make. And one ball makes this scarf. This is the first time I've used Rico Can, and actually I've got about half a ball left, so I'm going to do another one for someone else. I just thought this was getting perfectly long enough. Woohoo! Shimmy, shimmy. I'm full of the joy of New Year. To all those of you who might have headaches, I don't apologise. Sorry. Here we are. You can see the stitches in there. There are, if I pull it apart, you'll be able to see, there are 6 stitches. And what you do is you slip the needle through the edging of this kind of fishnet to create your initial stitches, and then you just knit through the fishnet. I'm going to pop a little video on here. So as you can see, I am slipping 6 stitches onto the needle to start with, then poking the needle through knitwise as I would normally on a normal stitch, wrapping the yarn around and pulling through. And when you get to the other end, you just turn it around and continue as normal. You want to leave about 1.5 to 2 inches between each stitch. I did 6 stitches. Normally I do 7. Perhaps that's why I've got so many left. So there we are. It is a Christmas gift that is going to be delivered slightly late to my lovely auntie, who doesn't watch this, so I know it's perfectly safe. It's a little bit glam, very warm, and I know will be very much appreciated. My second finished Christmas gift, can't believe we're talking about this in January, but if you're new, this is what you can expect. My second finished gift I very much owe to a lovely podcast viewer who goes by Z Goodwin on Ravelry. I'll put her name just here. So she very kindly, having watched the last or the one before last, episode 16, when I was holding up my stash and going, I don't know what to do, I need to come up with a hat pattern, help, actually messaged me on Ravelry and said, you know what, I've actually seen this pattern before, it knits up really quickly, it might be worth you looking at. Oh my goodness, you totally saved Christmas. I have done all my making, all my shopping. I managed to do some shopping post-Christmas as well, you know, the advantage of not seeing family. But my one uncle that I really wanted to make something special for, and I had no idea. So Z Goodwin sent, sorry, I'm just pulling my hair out of this hat. Z Goodwin sent me the Not Too Fancy hat as a recommendation. I purchased it from the designer, and I'll put a picture here of the original, and the designer's name escapes me at the minute, so I'll pop that down below as well. So yeah, she sent me that. I was delighted to see it was a chunky weight yarn, and actually when I saw it, I realised that I had the perfect yarn in stash already from a project I made, weirdly enough, for the previous Christmas. I can't say last Christmas, we've had last Christmas. This could get confusing. I have knit it. It does not fit very well on my polystyrene head because my polystyrene head is a lady head and this is a man hat. But you'll get the idea. Here we are. This is knit out of Sirdar Harrap Tweed Chunky. It's a yarn that my husband chose for a jumper that I was knitting for my mother-in-law's partner, Lara's Popper. And it turns out actually he wasn't able to wear it. When I was knitting it, he saw it. I'm one of these people, do you do this? You're knitting something for a gift and you're not quite sure about it, so you kind of knit it in front of the person and act all casual like it's not for them. Anyway, so this happened, and I then found out that Lara's Popper is has quite sensitive skin, and the rustic tweediness of this yarn just was too much. It was going to be too much around his neck, so that got gifted elsewhere. That's fine, but I actually had a ball left over, and so I went to my stash, dug it out, and here we are. This is the Not Too Fancy hat. Beautiful colours, as I said, chosen actually by my husband last year. And I really like the decreases. I like the way it's a really chunky rib. And the Not Too Fancy comes from this one single cable 6 back, just in the middle here. And that is actually what creates this Not Too Fancy design. There's a little bit of interest there than just a plain rib watchman's cap, but it's not too fancy, which is what the designer's husband wanted. He wanted a new hat, but nothing too fancy. And this is what she came up with. I can highly recommend the pattern. It is good value for money. It's not overcharged at all. And it's really well written, very friendly and warm in tone. I like patterns like that where you get a sense of the designer behind it as well. Feels like they're talking to you and talking you through their designs. But yeah, here we are. You can see the flecks of lighter blue and turquoise in there. Come on, focus. It's really nice. It's a kind of mild effect. The actual yarn itself is a 4-ply. So you've got 2 strands, or is it 3 strands? This is the yarn, Sirdar Harrap Tweed. Forgive the fact that it's all scrunched up. And I got this actually in sale for £2.46 from John Lewis last year. It is 40% nylon, 30% wool, 24% acrylic, 168 metres or 184 yards for 100 grams. And I have got about half the ball left, having knit my hat. I've got about half the ball left, so I'm totally going to make another one and put it in my box for things to gift. So anyway, here's the yarn. You can see it's all plied together, the lighter blue and the darker blue. And when I came to sewing in, the last thing, what was it I was sewing in? I was sewing in ends for something, and my friend Emma, who is the maker behind Emma's Nice Things, and she makes the bags for Yarns of Anarchy, actually shared with me, oh no, it's a 6-ply, I'm lying. actually shared with me that what she does, rather than sewing in this whole chunky bit of yarn, she actually splits the yarn and it becomes much easier to hide. So as you can see, this yarn has split, or hopefully you can see, this yarn has split into, I'm not going to be able to show it, this yarn has split into 3, and each of those 3 is made up of, plied together, the darker blue and the lighter blue. And it creates this lovely, when it's all plied up together, creates this lovely mild effect, which is what you see in this hat. There we are. As I say, got enough yarn left. Totally going to knit another one. It did take me 2 evenings, but that's because I really wasn't happy when I was knitting it. It's knit on quite large needles. I didn't swatch. I know I'm a loose knitter. I knit it on 5s, which I think is what was called for. Was it 5.5 sort of called for? Can't remember. I knit on 5s. Don't know what the thinking behind that was. Anyway, it fits nicely. But as is often the way, when you've got rib, you can get this laddering between, and it's not showing up very well because I fixed it. Oh, there we are. You can get this laddering between where you switch from the knit stitches to the purl stitches. This is something I've counselled my beginners against and just said, you know, be really careful when you're swapping, particularly from knit to purl. But it was happening for me and I just wasn't happy with it. I was chatting online with some friends knitting this and I said, oh, dang and blast, I'm going to have to pull it back. I'm really not happy. Yeah. The only thing I would say, and I think it might be my attention, is you end up with this rather interesting sort of line around it where that cable 6 back is. And I don't know, that's probably just down to my tension, but it doesn't show up when it's on your head. Yeah, all in all, very successful. Thank you very much, Zed Goodwin. You are an absolute star. So now, in a departure from the norm, I have a half object for you. Living in my Yarns of Anarchy bag. How's that for handy, having just referenced Emma? This is for the brand Yarns of Anarchy. She is on Tinternet. I will find the info and put it just down below. She runs the Knit and Natter at the old fire station in Tunbridge, which I attend on a Thursday when I can get there. I had such a good time going there a few weeks ago with the lovely Marna, who is Unkate and Baig, does the Sinister Cats, and she did an impromptu steeking workshop, which was just brilliant. Yeah. So that's my bag. Living in this bag, this is what I'm meant to be showing you. I'm so pleased with this. Are you ready? I'm so pleased. I'm not ready. Are you ready? I'm not. It is my mitten. I've done it. I have done my first ever colourwork project from start to completion. It's not quite my first. I started a Christmas stocking, predominantly in red with little flecks of white to make like snowflake, like it was the odd knit stitch, so you had the odd V's of snow, and my tension was awful. It pulled it right in. It did have a snowflake motif around the band and it was just, got frogged. Anyway, so I don't count that. This is my first project and I couldn't be more proud. Look at me beaming like a Cheshire cat. There we are. Love it. Get my head out of the way and you can see it. This is a Selbu mitten knit in DK weight. So it's the DK weight pattern created by the lovely Ellie, who is Skein on Ravelry and has the Skein podcast, Skein Knits podcast. She is such a gorgeous person. She's such a sweetie. We hung out a bit at Perth. There we go again, and also at Yarnporium. So yeah, it was lovely, and I'm so pleased that my first colourwork pattern is by Ellie. I love the geometric design on the palm of the hand. That's really lovely, and the traditional kind of Selbu snowflake motif. You can see as my tension got a little bit better. Now, what's really interesting, when I was putting that it was 50% done on Ravelry, I've actually started being really good with Ravelry. I've started putting project notes and things on because, you know, I'm a podcaster, so I've got to be grown up and responsible, and it is my duty to make sure that my project pages are complete, right? It's just another thing they don't tell you when you start podcasting. You say show notes and editing and Ravelry pages, and Stash needs to be uploaded. Haven't done that yet. Oh, so anyway, went on there and I realised that according to my Ravelry project page, I was using 3.75mm needles. When I finished this mitten, I was using 4mm needles. So I'm not sure if that's why the tension's a little bit better, why it seems to get a little bit wider and looser near the top. I don't know. I really don't know. I know I swatched and it came out that I needed to use 3.75mm needles. And then I'm one of these people that has so many whips on the go. If you're an old viewer, this is old hat to you, isn't it? But new viewers, I have so many whips on the go that I have more whips than I have needles. And I've got the Knit Pro Zing interchangeable needle set. Big mistake. Because what that enables me to do is to take the tips off of one project and put them onto another. So it doesn't matter that I haven't got enough needles. I've got a spare cable, I can carry on. And that's what I did here. So I mistakenly thought that I'd been knitting on 4mm needles. And I think you can actually tell where it changes. If you look at the palm particularly, from about there, I was working on a 4mm needle and it just looks so much more even. So I think, I don't know if it was me becoming more relaxed and more confident with colour work, or if it was the needle size. I'm going to do the other one on the 4mm needle completely and see what happens. I mean, it is quite big and loose at the top, and my hand is now curled up in the middle there, and it stands up on its own. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I am one of these people that suffers from second syndrome. It's not second sock syndrome, it's second anything syndrome. Second sock, second sleeve, second front of a cardigan, that's been a big one this week, and second mitten. Clearly anything that involves doing more than one of something, and so, but I really want the other one. I really want the pair. I really want the pair. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, hold me to this, podcast viewers. You have permission to nag me, okay? Politely, but nag me, okay? I want this done and I need the motivation. As I've already said, it is the Selbu mitten by Ellie, who is Skein Knits. Absolutely lovely. I have. It's because I'm saying am and have, and I end up with I have used the inestimable yarn by, am I going to leave this in? Maybe I'm not clever enough to do bloopers like some podcasters. Who's got time for that? Anyway, I'm using the gorgeous yarn by Springfield Farms, and it's just beautiful. This was bought at Perth, drink. It was bought at Perth. The only two colours they do, and it's 100% wool, and it's scrummy. It's scrummy. I mean, it's not the softest yarn to use. Obviously, it's a high wool content, but it works beautifully for colour work. Super warm. Isn't scratchy at all on my wrist, which is where I'm quite sensitive, but I can wear that quite happily on my bare wrist. I'm very happy with it. With regards to me and my knitting, you can see here, this was going really well, and then the shaping started and it all went a little bit pear-shaped. But you know what? First colour work project, I'm all right with this. The other thing I want to say about Ellie's mitten is that what's super clever, you see the thumb, it's got this nice snowflake. Right, okay, ready? Can we just talk about that? The pattern continues as though it's unbroken. It's so clever. So clever. Anyway, that is my half object. I was considering making these for a Christmas gift for someone, but for me. I have this much of the 50 gram balls of yarn left. I am slightly worried I'm going to run out of the grey. More than slightly worried, to be honest with you. And it's all got in a tangle. But hopefully it should be all right and I should have enough. I am quite nervous about it, if I'm honest. I don't know why, because there seems to be almost equal parts to grey to yellow to me. Do you know what I mean? I mean, okay, there's a bit more grey down here, but we'll see. We'll see. If need be, I can always buy some more. I can always order some more. So that is my half object. Moving on now to works in progress, and there are two major projects that have seen work this festive season. I took time off from the project bag, and when I wasn't doing things like cooking for the in-laws and doing the whole obligatory Christmas stuff. My hand feels really cold now. I've taken that mitten off. It's really strange. It's a really warm mitten. Anyway, I basically just sat and knitted and indulged myself. And the first one that's seen a lot of work is my old school sock. You can see it's a bit baggy where I've tried it on. I am so close to getting to the toe. Hold on, give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. I had to get up because this little man, who's now being a bit of a diva, you camera shy. You gone camera shy? Have you? You gone camera shy? Do I smell funny? I smell funny. This little man who's gone a bit camera shy, off you go, was scratching at the door to be let in. But I also wanted to do this. Can you not scratch everything? Oh, thank you. I don't really want to see your bottom. I really don't. Put your tail down. Thank you. Oh, boys. I wanted to put this onto the sock blocker to show you a bit better. Here we are. So I'm very, very near to the toe. I've got literally an inch more to knit. These are being knit out of Amy from Stranded Dye. Makes it sound like she's from her own company. Amy, who is the dyer behind Stranded Dye Works. This is her vintage Christmas colourway. It's beautiful. It's a minty green with these lovely festive speckles. And these are what I'm going to be calling my old school socks. So called after the very lacy, elaborate socks that certainly in England when I was growing up and I was at infant school and junior school, we used to wear. This is actually quite a simple design, the simplest, plainest of lacy school socks, which were typically white as well and almost knee-high, not quite. But yeah, there'll be some more patterns coming out soon. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm using Knit Pro Symphonies. And the way I like to knit my socks is actually on 2 circular needles, which is what you can see hanging out here. So if I try and, I can't separate them very well. Try and separate them a bit. I'm just making a lot of irritating noise, aren't I? You probably can't see, but the bottom, the heel is sitting on this circular needle and the toe, he wants to go out again now, isn't that typical? And the toe is sitting on another one. And you just swap between, I'm going to poke myself in the eye, you just swap between needles. So you knit the sole stitches from the back needle, and then you turn it and just start working on the other needle as a circular needle as well. So it's in the round but not quite, if that makes sense. I'll try and get some footage if I can and pop it in and show you. But yeah, maybe I won't have time. So those are my old school socks. The second project that has received some attention this festive season is the Calypso cardigan. I am so close to finishing the second front of this Calypso cardigan. So called because I am using Calypso Yarn by King Cole. It's not my yarn, it is not my pattern. It was bought by my lovely friend Christine, who intended to knit it for herself and just found the yarn a bit tough to work with. I'm starting to have issues with it. I had to cut the yarn. I could not get the knot undone and I had to cut the yarn. So I'm really finding out now at this stage why there were so many problems with it. Having said that, it's this lovely kind of, again, mild pale blue and white. The thing I'm not sure about is it's quite a kinky yarn. You see the kinks there? It's not very well focused. I think it's focusing more on my hand, but come on. There we are. It's kinked. And that means your stitches, however neat a knitter you are, and I'm obsessively neat, end up kinky as well. I'm not sure how much I like that. However, it's beautifully soft and I am so close to finishing it. I got very excited the other day thinking, oh, I've nearly finished the second front and then all I have to do is the band. You're forgetting the sleeves, Gem, forgetting the sleeves. So it's not quite as close as I'd hoped, but it is getting there. I've done the back, I've done one front, second front is on the way, and the needles have been borrowed again from another project. There is one final project that I have started working on. It's really not interesting, but it illustrates perfectly, as I'm putting that other bag down, it illustrates perfectly what I'm saying about stealing needles from various projects. Because there we are, I haven't even put stoppers on, isn't that terrible? So these are the interchangeable bits, the interchangeable needles. You have these cables which your knitting hangs out on, and then these screwy bits at the end, and your tips screw onto there. And I've started a blanket. It is, I can't actually remember, I think this is James C. Brett. It did have a pattern in the ball band, but it required counting stitches and increases and decreases to make a ripple effect, like the ripple crochet blankets that you may have seen. Attic 24 has a great recipe for it. Pattern and tutorial for it, and on her blog, the neat ripple pattern. But if you look at that, what chance do I have of keeping track of and counting decreasing and increasing stitches? It's just not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So yeah, nothing particularly exciting on there. A rather fetching beard, perhaps. Santa needn't worry, need he? But yeah, I just thought, as it illustrates so beautifully what I was saying about stealing bits from other projects, I might as well show you. Now, of course, there are other whips going on. Of course there are. And this does kind of bring me to my next section, which is a goals of 2019. This is not going to be a regular section of the podcast. I may dip into it and say, oh, this is what I've achieved so far at some point, maybe quarterly, who knows. It's not going to be a weekly thing. So those of you who have seen the podcast before will be used by now to my whip board. It's back to front. Why is it back to front? What's she hiding from us? And my whip board is a little bit intense. There are 15 projects on this. Some of them are now finished objects, and I will show you very shortly. And it brings me to my knitting goals. It is that time of year where people are talking about reviewing their previous year and what they want to achieve in the new year, and all sorts of challenges are coming out, like Red January, being active every day in January, and the Make 9 challenge, which I spoke about on episode 16, I think. And I know, I'm going to say this incorrectly now, Luby Lou was very keen on the idea of my doing a Make 9 and joining in with it. However, I have major commitment issues when it comes to my craft projects. Happily married, quite happily married, no commitment issues there. No commitment issues to what I want to do with regards to the business, but when it comes to crafting, I do have major commitment issues. And I was watching Dundonit the other day, finally catching up. I binge watched her last 3 episodes. I love her. She's amazing, isn't she? She's just so funny and relaxed, and yeah, fast becoming one of my favourite podcasts. Anyway, tangent again. She was talking about this, and she isn't going to be doing the Make 9. And she said, you know, nailing the colours to your mast just doesn't fit well with her. And I'm so the same. I say I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, and I cannot follow it through. I just get bored and immediately get interested in something else. Or maybe what I set out to do ends up not being the right thing to do. So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about my Make 9 challenge, and the 9 that I talked about that I wanted to knit in 2019. I think I'd got to 8 in total. I was 1 shy of 9. It looked like I was going to be able to do it. I was thinking about it, I was thinking, yeah, but do I really want to cast any of those on right now when I've got this beautiful board here? So let me introduce you to my I'm going to bloom well get 9 done challenge. It's a mouthful. I might need to think of something else. I have my whip board here. And as you can see, 4 of these whips have been crossed off. That means 11 are remaining. So my boxy is done, my firework hat is done, and yes, I totally put the firework hat on as a whip, so just so I could tick it off when I'd done it. I have the Selby mittens, which are half done, Tulameen shawl, Calypso Cardi, Ella tunic. What's that? Jamesy Brett dress. Oh, that's for my tipsy knits, because you're worth knits, and also my Blame Dunder knit along. Really need to get a wriggle on with that. What else? KA shawl. More about that later. Oh, so much more. My daughter socks. Yes, I'm so glad to know I'm not alone. Old school socks are on there as well. Ellie from Skein Nuts podcast was doing her whip review in a podcast. I think it was like episode 91. Or something like that, very recently. And she said that actually most of these socks that she has got half done are her own designs. She's done one, she's had it tech edited, she's taken the photographs. She doesn't need to knit the next one. I'm the same. I've had my daughter sock knit for months. It's been test knit, it's ready to go to the tech editor. Have I knit the second sock? No. So glad to know that I am in good company with that at least. So yeah, I've got 2 pairs of socks on there to finish, 3 pairs of socks. So I've got my Dragon Hill Studio self-striping socks. I've ground to a halt with that because I'm at the point of turning the heel. And I can either turn the heel or I can continue to do the afterthought heel as I had initially planned and I got the mini skein for. More on that again later. What's that say? Lindsay's Ripple Blanket, which is a crochet project that I found and completely forgot I had to finish. Whoops. The Can scarf, again, wrote it on just so I could tick it off. And Grandma's jumper is, I'm on Sleeve Island with that. Oh, you can't really call it Sleeve Island if it's a lace sleeve, can you? And the Not Too Fancy hat, which again, I put on so I could tick off because I'm that person. So that is what I'm going to be doing. My goals for 2019, whoops, include my I'm gonna damn well finish 9 challenge. Then I might embark on a how many can I tick off of the Make 9 challenge. Tell you what I really want to do. Since I said that Kristin wasn't going to be doing her box of socks Cal next year, she's turned around, the beaut that she is, and announced that she is going to run it after all. Hooray! But with much more relaxed rules. So the socks do not have to be for yourself and you can wear them during the course of the year. You don't have to wait a whole year to wear them. So those are 2 that make me feel really keen to get going. I'm waiting to hear if whips are allowed. If they are, I'm so on that. So my finished 9, Kristin's box of socks is definitely happening this year. And I have some goals with regards to knitting skills that I would very much like to extend. And not just knitting skills, but crafting skills in general. I would like to develop some of the techniques. So I would like to learn brioche properly. I haven't done that yet. It's a technique that I really want to do. I would like to improve on needle felting and other crafts that I have yet to try or to master. And I'm not one for resolutions. I used to be, and again, it was the same resolutions every year. Things like grow my nails, lose weight, get fit, be more organised, all of these things that just weren't restricted enough, weren't measurable enough for me to actually do, and were so easy to fall down on. And plus, with New Year's resolutions, there's this idea, isn't there, that if you miss a day in your resolution, well, that's it, it's failed. End of, game over. And I think that's actually really unhealthy. It puts a ridiculous amount of pressure on you at the very start of the year to be perfect straight away, which I think is just nonsense. I mean, it takes 28 days to build a habit. And life is about trial and error, and things are going to happen and going to get in the way. I set out to knit 6 pairs of Lara socks for Christmas from the second drawer down. Didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Does that make me a failure? No, of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. The other thing with New Year's resolutions is they're very much about looking at the ways you're not yet good enough. And I think that's a bit of a problem as well. And it's something that I'm very much trying to ease up on. I have spent my life measuring myself against league tables, grade results, and actually in my career, my effectiveness and my worthiness as a teacher was measured against whether or not my children, my students, made progress. And actually, I wasn't programming robots. These were very real young people with very real lives and very real problems in those lives. And it doesn't mean that I was completely ineffective as a teacher if one of my students didn't make the requisite amount of progress. But you do start to measure yourself against that. So I want to move away from that this year. I'm moving away from resolutions and moving to goals. And this is actually something I started last year when I started the project bag. I had quarterly goals that were broken down into areas and broken down again into one sec. Sorry, he wanted to go out again. Goals, yeah, and they were broken down again into a checklist of tasks that I had to do. Now, obviously my year started out really well, and then personal circumstances overtook and that didn't happen, but thought I might give you a sneak peek into my bullet journal from last year. I've just discovered, looking in my bullet journal, that learn brioche was my resolution for last year as well. Okay, let me show you my goal setting page. Now this, as you can see, has there are two goal setting pages. So this is personal. All right, so this has nothing to do with the business. This is just me as a person, as a human being. So my main goal was to improve vitality. This was taken from Gretchen Rubin's The Happiness Project, which is a book I've read 3 or 4 times and I absolutely love. And I took it from that. So that was my personal goal for the first quarter. So I wanted to be mindful, build habits and eat well. And these are the goals. These are the things that I was looking to be able to tick off. And something that came up as an alternative to resolutions was a word of the year. And I was talking to my friend about this the other night when we were having a bit of a hangout, a virtual midnight. And I kind of like the idea of a word. I was thinking really hard about what my word would be this year. And the first thing I thought was hope. Because after the year I had last year, I think having hope is actually not an easy thing to do. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? To be hopeful would be a really good word for 2019. However, the problem with that is that it's quite passive. And I was watching Marcus Diavella, his video on YouTube. And it was about making your New Year's resolution stick. And he quoted a TED talk that actually I've seen before. And it talked about this word here. And it's on my works in progress board. Grit. We are talking resilience, determination, keeping going even when you think that actually you are totally rubbish and you might as well give up. It is that we're talking about here. And I think that's what I really want to have, grit, with regards certainly to moving the business forward and believing in myself a little bit more. And yeah, so any of you going to have words of the year? This is question of the week. If you were to pick a word of the year, what do you think yours would be and why? Why don't you let me know down in the comments blocks? Why don't you let me know down in the comments box below, just down there? What would your word of the year be if you were to pick one? I'm not saying you have to. What would it be and why? If you'd like to share that, I'd love to see. Who else is doing something like this? Who else thinks that resolutions are just bogus and another stick to beat ourselves with? Why can't we just go into the new year saying, do you know what? I am good enough right now as I am. I might like to improve some things, but there's no pressure. Tied into that is about the new section, which I am calling Level Up. Okay, so level up. The idea behind level up is basically that I want to take some time to indulge in a little bit of improving my skills, to learn something new. I am an avid crafter, and I've realised that particularly since returning to work part-time and running the business and recording the podcast, what's happening is it's more and more and more niche. My crafting is becoming almost exclusively knitting. Now, I love knitting, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's certainly not me as a person. I am one of these who just likes to try all the things. And certainly I find it more interesting if there are a variety of things to watch people talk about. So even crochet has taken a bit of a hit lately. So my new section, and to hold me accountable, is called Level Up. I will be dropping this in probably every fortnight, definitely not every week, probably every fortnight, definitely once a month. And the idea is I share with you something that I've been working on, a new skill, or perhaps an older skill that I'm trying to improve that a little bit more. I have already shown you a sneak peek into last year's bullet journal. I am getting ready at the moment to start this year's bullet journal. Yes, I have got major commitment issues and also major, oh my God, it's a white piece of paper phobia. Admittedly, this is cream, but still. There is nothing more intimidating than a blank piece of paper. As soon as you put pencil to paper, that's it. That's a permanent mark. What if you ruin it? What if you get it wrong? Conversation again I was having with my lovely friend the other night on the old knitting hangout that we were taking part in. So I have my new book here, and my first level up skill that I would love to be able to improve is my handwriting, essentially. What do they call it here? Hand lettering. And I was absolutely thrilled to receive for Christmas from my lovely, lovely friend, one of Laura's godmothers, this book. Isn't it great? Hand lettering relaxation. This combines a couple of the things that I'm really, really passionate about. Lowering my stress levels. I'm a little bit manic at the best of times. I am so easily stressed out. It's crackers, like steam coming out the ears. It's not good. It's really not. It's not good for my health, let alone the well-being of anyone around me. And also the opportunity to do something better and to learn a new skill. This is a really hefty tome of, it's a full workbook, and it takes you through all sorts of things. For example, faux calligraphy. It's teaching me to do that. And this is really interesting, and I'll show you what I've learned to do. And what you do is you take your pencil and you write as normal. Make sure you space the letters a little bit further apart than you usually would, and then find the downstrokes and draw another parallel line next to it and fill that in. It's as simple as that. So if you like this and would be interested in finding out about other techniques that she takes you through, I could highly recommend this book. I am having so much fun. This is It's Me Time. So this is the phrase we were actually supposed to be writing. I've got a problem with reading instructions. And actually, in the workspace where we were supposed to write It's Me Time, I did this. I'm really pleased with that, and I'm looking forward to being able to put that into my bullet journal. I am going to try really, really hard to let go of my perfectionism and just use the bullet journal as it's intended, which is a working document and not meant to be absolutely perfect and pretty. But yeah, so that is my level up skill for this week. I have also started on the next activity, which is drawing laurel wreaths, and you can see my attempts, which I'm making use of the spare white space in the book. It's quite liberating being able to just write in a book without worrying too much about where you're meant to be writing. It then has a blank page for you to actually have a go at yourself. So this is by Amy Latta, who is the founder and designer of One Artsy Mama. I'm quite sure that she is on Pinterest and Instagram and all the rest of the bits and bobs as well. And I'm sure it's one of those lovely feeds that you just feel a bit happy looking at. I will try and find it, and I'll put the link down below. So that is Level Up for this week. And I really would love it if Level Up could also be quite interactive. particularly at this time where we're all setting resolutions and picking goals for the new year, who here has crafting goals that they'd like to achieve? Have any of you got new skills you'd like to try? Would you like to try cross stitch for the first time, or are you a knitter but want to try crochet? Who's trying their hand at paper piecing or machine sewing? Who'd like to sew a garment? Who would like to try woodwork, metalwork, ironmongery, all the things? Do let me know if you have new crafting goals that you would like to achieve this year. I'm going to open a thread on the Ravelry group for us to celebrate our level up moments, and I really do want you to just pop in there, share what you've been up to, and also just let me know if you're happy for me to share that on the podcast. You might get to feature in your very own episode of Level Up. So the thing is, when you use your bullet journal to show people things, you then close your bullet journal and can no longer find your list of show notes. Whoops. Okay, so before I go into the what is new for the project bag in 2019, and there is so much exciting coming along, let me ease your suspense and finally announce the winners of not the Crack Those Whips Cal, what am I doing? The Great Festive Cast-On Cal. So for those of you who are new and might not know, in the run up to Christmas from the 1st of October to the 24th of December, I was running a knit along or craft along. The idea being anything festive that you were making could count towards a prize. Didn't have to be a gift knit. I kind of was intending it originally, and then I thought, oh, don't be a Scrooge, Gemma, come on, anything festive or holiday related will do. And I'm drawing prizes from the Facebook group and also from the Ravelry group. If you have entered into the Facebook group, you need to go across to the Facebook group itself to find out if you've won a prize. Here I'm just going to announce the Ravelry winners and show your prizes off. So there were 41 posts in total. Yeah, 41 posts in total. An amazing range of projects that you created, both knit and crochet, lots and lots of socks, some gorgeous shawls, hats that just look absolutely stunning. I really want to knit so many things myself from your gift lists. And I was really impressed with the pair of socks that was with that, I think it was Wool and the Gang, the bit that comes up leopard print, and people have mixed results with that because gauge really matters. I'm very impressed with the look of those that I saw as well. So I decided, in the spirit of the festivities, to draw 3 winners from the Ravelry group. And the winners were as follows. So first of all was number 3, and that is Handbag Crazy. And she entered this pair of mitts. She also entered a hat, which was post number 2. I'll pop a picture of the mitts here. Copyright, of course, to Handbag Crazy. And that is absolutely fabulous. The second number I drew was number 17, which was also Handbag Crazy. So I hope you forgive me, but I did go ahead and draw another winner instead. The third number that I pulled was number 19, which is Karen, and she knit this absolutely stunning wrap for her daughter. Picture again here for you. And the final entry that was selected, obviously I'm selecting 3 winners, but Handbag Crazy won twice, so I had to pick 4 numbers in total, was Little Bush Baby, who entered this fabulous pair, among other things, this fabulous pair of purple socks. So there we are, those are the winners, and the prizes are a little bit special. I feel ever so generous at this time of year. And each of you has won a project bag and a skein of yarn. So to Little Bush Baby, here is your very own handmade by the project bag. This one actually never hit the Etsy shop. I kept it back. I don't know why. I think maybe I was thinking of keeping it for myself. You'll see it's like very much like my long bag here, with this cute little design, a handy drawstring for you, a handle and a box bottom. Perfect for a 1 skein project. This one actually, I'm spoiling you here, this one actually also has a pocket in it, which actually none of the others do. Anyway, I'm really pleased with it. Here we are. And I am putting in for you this skein of black Forest colourway. This is, woo, floppy. Sorry. This, I'll hold it like this. This is, oh dear. This is a skein of my MCN Aran weight yarn. So merino cashmere nylon. It is super, super squishy, and this is the Black Forest colourway. I have actually seen a skein of this started to be knit up. There is a blog which I would encourage you all to go and follow and check out, and follow her on Instagram, Jack and Tweed, and she sent me a picture of some mittens she's crocheting for herself out of this colourway, and it's just beautiful. So there you are. If you are interested, there is one left on my shop. Karen, I am really pleased to be sending you this gorgeous project bag. Again, drawstring, handle, box bottom with a navy blue lining, this cute button motif, and you are also getting a skein of my MCN Aran, and you are getting the Peppermint Ice colourway. 166 meters, so not too shabby. And finally, handbag crazy. For you, you have to forgive the fact there's no drawstring. I took it out because I decided I didn't like the one that was in there and didn't quite get it replaced before the podcast. Anyway, there will be a drawstring, I promise. You have this one with this gorgeous kind of teal with flowers. Again, handle, box bottomed, no pocket in this one, I'm afraid. And you get lavender ice. Again, it's my merino cashmere nylon Aran weight yarn. It is gorgeous. If you are in the market for Aran weight yarn, do keep an eye on my shop updates. There's going to be more news on that in the next section anyway. I will be retiring Aran either by the next shop update or the one after. So if you are in the market for Aran yarn at all and you're hoping to get some of mine, just a heads up, you will not be able to get it certainly after February. So I'm pretty certain it will be retired by the end of January until the winter. So just a heads up for you. And there we are, lavender ice. So congratulations to my winners, and well done to all of you for your amazing festive knits. It really was inspiring seeing that thread and seeing you join in. Okay, so now it's time to talk about what is new for the project bag in 2019. I have done quite a lot of thinking on my time off over the festive season, and actually I know I'm not alone. I was dyeing yarn on Christmas Eve. I couldn't help it. I've got 3 new colourways, actually on my Aran bases, ironically enough, that are going to be in the next shop update on the 26th of January. Yeah, I know I'm not alone in the fact that I wasn't able to leave the business alone for my time off. I did make sure I sat on my bum and indulged in personal knitting, either for gifts or working on the bits that you've seen just there. But I wasn't able to stop thinking about the business and what I want for it and where we're going to go from here. It is actually the project bag's birthday today. There we are. We are 1, not the podcast. The podcast is only about 20 weeks old, but the project bag itself as a business was actually registered with HMRC on New Year's Day 2017, and I launched the blog that following weekend, and everything started to happen then. So the business as a whole is 1 year old. And obviously that's got me thinking a lot about where I've come from, where I'm going, what I want to achieve. The essence of the project bag is very much happening. I wanted to create project bags and all the bits to go inside them, including designing patterns. Thrilled to have 2 patterns already out as of last year, and I've got a further 4 patterns in the mix, looking to come out within the next couple of months to 6 months, which is really, really exciting as well. I'd hope to start dyeing yarn. I've ticked that box. It's so exciting seeing my yarn growing up to be things that people have purchased. It's just amazing. I know some skeins have been borrowed away into treasured stash and may not grow up for quite some time, so they're in like the neverland of yarn, which again, is just wonderful that people treasure them and want to keep them for that special project. I wanted to start the podcast. Here we are, episode 18. Can't believe we're heading towards episode 20 already. In fact, if I hadn't taken a couple of weeks off, I'm sure we would have been on episode 20. The Ravelry group's going well. The Cals are going well. I've applied to vend at yarn festivals, which is absolutely terrifying, but so exciting. So essentially all my 2018 goals for the project bag have been achieved, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I think it's mind-blowing anyway, but not to toot my own horn and blow my own trumpet, but actually with everything else I've had to contend with over the last 9 months, 10 months, I feel pretty proud. So I couldn't help but start thinking about what next. So massive goal obviously is to vend at a couple of yarn festivals. I have applied for one, I'm about to send my application in for a second, and the third is going off later in the month as well. So I'll be doing a maximum of 3 yarn festivals if I'm lucky enough to be accepted. I want to visit more yarn festivals as a podcaster and get to meet more of you in the flesh, as 'twere. Hopefully with knitwear. And yeah, the other things that I want to do, I want to reinvigorate and relaunch my blog, and I'm really excited about this. Let me talk to you about this first of all. You are going to see a lot more of this from me, a lot more pretty much wearing the same thing. I am very excited by the prospect of minimalism. I'll just, yeah, you laugh. That's fine. Yeah, I'll just give you a minute to well, there's no need to hold your sides. You done now? Oh, come on, come up for air. It's not that funny. All right, it is pretty funny. Anyone who knows me watching this podcast will be absolutely splitting their sides laughing when I say I'm going to explore minimalism. I know this because when I was putting my skein winder together with my friend Jackie, I said to her, I'm going to explore minimalism. And she almost spat out her tea. She couldn't help it. She was in fits of laughter, absolutely peals of laughter. I am a bit of a hoarder. I have hoarding tendencies. I am terrible. I do not want to throw anything out that I think could have a use. I'm very aware of the value of money and don't essentially like the idea of parting with things, because if it hasn't had its use, then what have I done? I've just wasted money. But I've become very interested in Matt Diavella's videos, as I'm sure you've seen, and I, as part of reducing stress, would like to simplify my life somewhat. And the reason that I want to do this now is because I'm discovering that running a business from home, particularly when home is a fairly small cottage, is a challenge. You get the stuff out to do your making and it has to go away before your home can function as a home again. And if you have storage issues, which we do in this house because none of our furniture when we moved in fit and we just haven't been able to buy new furniture, it becomes a real challenge. And I find myself saying more and more, oh no, it's fine, it's just when it's all in its proper place, it'll be fine. But we've been here for 3 years now and that's just not happening. So I have decided to explore minimalism, and one of the things that my blog is going to do is explore that. Can you be a minimalist and a maker? What is minimalism? What does it look like? So in true procrastinator fashion, I have avoided minimalizing. Is that a word? Who knows? Maybe. I've avoided that. And I started first of all with my cutlery drawer. I took into work all the spare cutlery, and by spare I left us with 6 knives, 6 forks, 6 spoons, 6 teaspoons, and I figured we're a house of 2, we occasionally have people round, that'll do, and took everything else in. I then became very interested in this idea of a minimalist wardrobe. Particularly watching Matt Diavella, he has 24 t-shirts, and someone said, well, you can't be a minimalist if you've got 24 t-shirts. I won't spoil the education there. It's a 5-minute video. I'll link it below. It's well worth watching. And actually I thought, you know what, not having to stress about what to wear would be really helpful, particularly as I'm in this weird limbo land where I've got a proper grown-up job. It sounds like running a business isn't a proper grown-up job, and it really is. I've got a regular everyday day job, as a teacher, where I have to be fairly responsible and dress sensibly, but also I've got my own job, my business job of being a podcaster, a craft teacher, and a hand dyer. So I need slobby clothes for hand dyeing, and I need something comfortable for working and teaching people crafts as well, but not quite as official as my teaching clothes. So that's really interesting. So I've gone out and I've bought myself 10 tops that I can dress up or dress down. They're very much like this, completely plain. I don't know why I'm going into so much detail here. Anyway, so that's the reason I want to look into minimalism now. And I'm not going to talk about this on the podcast. I am going to be chronicling my adventures in minimalism on the blog. I am so keen to find out if you can be a maker and a minimalist, particularly as I have quite a sizable stash, and find out how those two things can work together over on my blog. That's going to be coming soon. The other new thing that's going to be happening in 2019, and I'm not entirely sure of the launch date yet, is I'm going to be starting a newsletter. This will be the best place to keep in touch with everything I'm doing, where I'm going to be, if I'm visiting yarn festivals, if I'm vending, new prints for the shop, what's coming in with regards to my hand-dyed yarns, pattern releases, all that sort of thing, when the shop updates will be, what's going in the blog. Everything like that will be in the newsletter. So if you are interested, then do keep an eye. I'll be sharing with you over the next couple of weeks how to sign up for that. There will be exclusive content there as well, possibly some free shipping codes for the shop and things like that. So it is worthwhile. It is worthwhile getting involved with that. So yeah, rejuvenating the blog. I've also got some new yarn bases coming out. I'm really excited. I am thinking about the knit-alongs for the new year, and there are going to be 2 knit-alongs starting. The first one, which I'll talk very briefly about, is going to be the fan club knit-along. Details will be revealed soon, but that will be starting at the end of January. And they are, the idea behind this is anything you can link to being a fan of something. So for example, I have the Gryffindor colours in which I would like to use to knit Ellie's Nelly socks. So they're going to be my Gryffindor Nelly socks. Hermione's everyday socks is another thing. Outlander shawl, using Outlander yarn, anything that's inspired. I was going to be really pernickety and keep it to books, but I think that's a little bit too restrictive. That is probably going to be a pretty much a year-long knit-along. It's going to run from February to September, which isn't a year-long at all, is it? It might be September, it might be 6 months. We'll see. So that's coming on. And there is another one, which I won't say anything more about now, but it's very, very exciting with new techniques as well. So that's where I'm at the moment. I have more ideas under my hat, but I'm very aware of the fact that I tend to bite off more than I can chew and overcommit. And I don't want to be that person that says, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then only manage X, half do Y 6 months after I plan to, and Z just gets forgotten. So I don't want to do that. But yeah, with regards to the business side of things, the podcast, the changes you already know about. With regards to the business side of things, very excited that my courses are booking up ready for the new year, and I'm actually including new dates and new venues, which is really exciting as well. Looking ahead, believe it or not, looking ahead already to Christmas. I've got some very exciting Christmas craft workshops that I'm planning. Yeah, it's gonna be a big, big year for the project bag. And I'm so grateful to all of you who've supported me on this crazy journey so far, and to all of you for your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, joining in the Ravelry group, being part of the community, because to be honest, that's what I'm about, really. I want to create a community if I can, and have people joining in with all the crafts. Do let me know if there's something you'd like to see, if there's a craft you'd like me to try, something you'd like me to do perhaps, who knows, tutorials you'd be interested in, anything like that. Give me feedback below. What do you want to see from the project bag if I was to perhaps pick from viewers' opinions? Let me know. Right, I have waffled on for absolutely ages. I can practically hear my husband's stomach rumbling from in here, and I really had best head off now and let you enjoy the rest of your day. Whatever you're crafting, I hope you're having fun. Winners, do get in touch with me and I will send you your prizes, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.